Imagine if I could change the way you see yourself and everyone around you in 15 minutes. How many women in this room have given birth to more than one child? You can see they're kind of humped over. They've carried these kids for a lot of years. I'll ask you the question I've asked all women around the world. Were any of your children the same? No. The universal answer is that in the womb, a child comes with a personality. If you look at this child, you count 10 toes and 10 hands. The first thing you think about is, what about my baby? But what you don't realize is the relationship of that child is going to come more significantly with his or her personality than the number of toes or fingers that he has. Last year, think of the number of people. 85% were fired from their jobs in the United States because they couldn't get along with people. And 43% were unable to sustain a marriage that they thought they loved the person more than life itself. What does that tell us about defining who we are and how we come across? I'm going to teach you about a very, very powerful personality model. It has nothing to do with behavior. Whether I'm wearing a suit, whether you have a dress on, or a bathing suit. It doesn't matter what you wear, what you do, that defines who you are, but it's who you innately are underneath all the behaviors. Because beneath behavior in the iceberg is the motive. And the motive is the thing that destroys and enhances all aspects of relationships. The color code teaches that every child is born with a driving core motive that makes them who they are. And by the way, if I have a driving core motive, what that means is if I can't accomplish it, it's like you're choking me. Each of us has a different core motive. And because of that, it determines what's important to us in our lives. So other aspects impact your core motive. For example, there are reds in the world, and I'll discuss you in just a moment. But there are also dumb reds. A dumb red is different than a smart red, but they're both red, driven by the same core. There are also people that are born in a birth order. For example, a yellow child that is the last born is less responsible than a yellow child who is firstborn because it impacts you. But all of these factors, race, age, gender, anything you can think about is a trapping that that adds to the core motive you are. So core motive is the basis. That's what we start with. I'm going to start with the reds because they get angry if I don't, okay? Red personalities make things happen. They're driven by the core motive of power. What does power mean? Power simply means moving from A to B. That's it. So can you begin to understand that if you're dealing with a red personality and you're not accomplishing a task, you're choking them. They can't function because you won't get out of the way so they can get to B. I am a yellow personality. I am not red. It doesn't matter if I get to B. I can go to S or L or Q, any number of places before I get to B. But to a red, it's about getting to B. A to B. So every personality has a driving core motive. For reds, it's power. Now, they also have 15 described attributes. I'm only going to give you a few of those today that are positive, and they have 15 that are negative. What's ironic when I do this is everybody says, I like all the positives, I don't like any of the negatives. And everybody in this room also struggles with, I think I'm really kind of all the colors. What they're saying is, I want to be only the good things that you talk about. When I talk about your core personality, I promise you, if it's your personality I'm talking about, you will cringe at things that you know are real for you when they're painful. When you talk about others' personalities, you don't cringe. That's their problem, not mine. And some of you may have traits of other personalities. That's not uncommon at all. But you must find your driving core personality to understand who you are. So we'll start, for example, with what's right about the reds. They have the driving core motive of power, and then they have the gifts that get things done. I have to be honest with you, the gift of vision is an empowering gift for reds that reds bring to us. Reds don't live today. They live literally 10 years ahead. Hard for reds to go on vacation because that's living in the here and now. They're thinking about what's going to happen 20 years from now. You talk about saving money in the bank. That's what Reds do so well because they're realizing that, you know what? You're going to need that 20 years down the road. That's what Reds look like. Targets, frustration, money, achievement. These are things that matter to Reds. Okay? The strengths of Reds. Let's start, for example, with what I love about Reds, and that is they are decisive. If they make 51% of their decisions right, they're happy. Because the other 49% would have worked, but you screwed up. And that's the reason it didn't. Reds do not get worried about yesterday. Whatever happened is over. Let's move on to the next. They don't get stuck. And I'll tell you something else with Reds. If you have a problem with a Red and you don't challenge them today, that's your problem. Because it's over tomorrow. So take your issues up with them today. They're also very assertive. Reds don't respect somebody who doesn't stand their ground. I'll tell you how it works. You go into a hotel lobby, you've made reservations for the night. You're a Red. You show up, there's no room. What happens? You get a suite. It's not my problem that you're inadequate. It is your problem. Find me my suite. If you're a Blue, you go to the same clerk, you've made reservations for the night. If you're a Blue, you've checked yourself 3 times. You show up, there's no room. What happens? You immediately feel guilty. If you're Jewish and Catholic, you're Blue, you're dead. Just write it off. Because you're always feeling guilty for something. Your assumption is, I should have done something. If you're a White, very chill, very relaxed. You say to the clerk, no problem. I'll take the couch in the lobby. Wake me if there's a room. And if you are a Yellow, you will have an hour conversation with the clerk about nothing. And when you are done, you will not get a room. But the clerk will take you home for the night. Everybody has a way of getting through life. Everybody has a way, but Reds you must be assertive to, or you will lose the relationship with them. And they're also very proactive. Reds don't get depressed, they make you depressed. But the reality is, if they get depressed, they don't stay there because what good is it? It does them no good to be upset and depressed. So they get up and they move on. Now the negative sides. What's wrong with Reds? Insensitive. You're fat. You don't know you're fat? Oh, that's even worse. Are you kidding me? And they don't really think about, I didn't need to say that. There was no point to that. So they can be very blunt and insensitive, which makes some people very uncomfortable. And Reds, I swear, in their DNA, think they know everything. Seriously, they do. They just know. Now, again, like I say, smart Reds do know a lot of things. Like they just are aware. It's like a walking Jeopardy. They just kind of get stuff. But there are also dumb Reds who don't know, but they think they know because they're Red, okay? And it's interesting to watch the Reds and the Blues who have conflict. Because both Reds and Blues want to control others. Reds think they know everything, which really annoys those that are Blue who think, of course, they do, okay? Red, people that you would know. It's very interesting to me to see how you can go from Putin to Mother Teresa and understand the vast differences of even one color. Very unique. Blues. Blues bring an incredible gift of connection. The most important driving core motive for a Blue is intimacy. They want to connect. They want a relationship. They want to share themselves with somebody else. And they have phenomenal gifts of giving and quality and caring. Very, very generous, service-oriented type of people. And they're very quality-based. Everything a Blue does, they have their name on. They want it to look right, okay? Now, that's how Blues look to us. Some of the strengths of Blues. One of my greatest stories I love to tell is my wife is very Blue and very caring. And we have a Red daughter who is excellent in spelling bees. Excellent. She's so good. She was always second place because there was an Asian kid. So he was first, and she was second, and they did well every single time. So my second daughter, who is just adorable, she is white, and she has dyslexia, and her eyes were crossed. I want to be in the spelling bee like my sister. Well, I am so sensitive. I said, well, of course you can't be because you can't spell, so that won't work. My blue wife said if she wants to spell, she will spell. So we all practiced her spelling words, literally every day for 2 weeks. And the spelling bee came. And my little white personality daughter stood up there. And as all of you know, with dyslexia, you can get it perfect and then you can be totally wrong. She won the spelling bee. That night, she took my wife's hand in hers and she spelled mother. M-O-T-H-E-R. It was like a Helen Keller moment. If she'd taken my hand, I don't know what she would have spelled. But the reality is, years later, when she tried out for cheerleader, she said it was my mom and her caring for me that gave me the courage to try out because of the spelling bee. Very caring. Very sincere. Don't tell a blue a joke, they'll never get them. This is always like, well, that couldn't have happened. It's a joke. We're just kidding here, right? But they're very sincere. And by the way, they cannot stand people who lie. They do not understand lying. It doesn't work for them. And they're very intuitive. The gift that the blues bring to the world is they are intuitive about people. They feel you. They sense whether you are legitimate or you're not. Okay? Blue limitations, they are emotionally intense. So intense, it drives me crazy. They can't just let things go and chill. They're driven by everything has to be just right, okay? And unrealistic expectations. They live here, we live here. That's not good enough for them. They want us to raise our game, no matter who it is we're with. Charlie Brown, when he says to himself, sometimes I lie awake at night and I say, what have I gone wrong? And then I think to myself, this is going to take a lot longer than one night. That's a blues worry. They worry about everything, no matter how well they put something together. There are some of your blues. You can see Walt Disney, so creative. Oprah Winfrey, who literally took the world by storm with her openness about herself. Whites are driven by the core of peace. It's an amazing thing to understand about the whites. They are driven by peace. I just want to get along with people I'm with. They're very, very clear in their thinking, have tremendous clarity when they're thinking. That's how whites look to us. Very relaxed and easygoing, very chill. Why don't you not talk right now? I've been asked to speak, not you. Right now, the reds are going, what do you care who's talking? You've got a microphone. Move on. The blues are saying, who was it? Who was talking? The yellows are saying, I was talking, you didn't catch me. Doesn't matter about them. But the whites in the audience are saying, I don't like Dr. Hartman. He is not kind. Kind. I'm telling you, no one was talking, I just made it up. But whites are so kind. They do not appreciate people who are rude or unnecessarily uncalled for. Even-tempered whites go through life not ever sharing anything inappropriate. We all have garbage cans, right? Reds have a garbage can where you stuff things that are negative. Reds have one, but they don't use it. They just tell you back what they're thinking. Blues love their garbage can. Look at my life. Look, see what I'm going through, right? The yellows have a garbage can. It's got a hole in the bottom. It just runs out. They can't remember what they're upset about. And the whites love the garbage can because they don't have to fight then. They hate conflict. No one listens better than a white. No one. They don't judge. They just listen. Whites are very, very, they hate conflict so badly that they'll actually tell you, where do you want to dinner? They don't care. It doesn't matter to them. You're thinking steak, lobster. Sound the same to you? No, but they don't care. Just let's go anywhere, right? Let's look for a minute at my favorite slide. That's how you recognize the moods of a white. They're all the same. Okay. Michael Jackson, he became whiter actually before he died, but he was brilliant as an actor. I mean, he was so good on stage and yet personally very quiet. Last is the yellows. Yellows are driven by the motive of fun. They live in the here and now. That's what makes a yellow tick. So the driving core motive for yellow is fun. Living in the moment, right? When we hear talks about stress, I'm thinking, what stress? What are we talking about? But I create your stress. That's the difference, okay? Yellows are very enthusiastic. They're optimistic. They believe everything can be worked out. They're never worried about things happening. They just show up for life, and it invites them to do whatever's happening. Yellows are very engaging of others. Whatever yellow does, you'll have more fun doing it with them. People often say, I like being with yellows because I like myself better when I'm with them. Think about the things that you see yellows do. They're very optimistic. Life works for them because they're lucky. Is it really because they're lucky or because they like life? Negative for with yellows. Yellows are adorable except if you're raising them. If you raise a yellow, they're a nightmare. And they are very, very disorganized. And discipline is hard for a yellow because why would you do anything the same way twice? They like change all the time. There are some of the yellows. Richard Branson, who brings a brand new marketing tool with the engineering of aviation. And then you have actors and actresses. I want you to go to taylorhartman.com and take the profile. Who are you? Find out who you are. There's a kids test, there's adult tests, and then look at the movies that we've put together of each of the colors so you can see, am I like that? And why? How can I become more abundant in my life? Thank you very much.